Hi, welcome to my channel. As you can see, my channel is about mixed media art. Right now, mostly vintage grunge, but you may find some watercolor from time to time, or whatever else might pique my interest. I do hope you enjoy my channel, and I hope you stay around for a very long time. Enjoy! Hi there. Today I'm coming on to work on the Bits and Pieces challenge hosted by Ina Solsbury. And I will put the link to Ina's channel in the description box below for the challenge. I am really late getting this done, but if you are quick, you can still get involved in this. And what you need to do is do your project and then send Ina a picture to her email address, and you can be included in Ina's Bits and Pieces challenge. And it's really fun, and every time there has been a challenge, I have really been challenged to try to follow along with Ina's prompts. And again, you know, you'll have to go run over there to her channel and watch and see what she has, you know, has laid out for us for the month of August. And if you have the picture to her any date in August yet, then you can be included. I have been given in a beautiful winnings from Sarah, who is at Craftin' and Relaxin', and I will also put a link to Sarah's channel below. But I was given this cereal box that she had partially covered with fabric, or covered with fabric like a start to a journal. And so that's what I'm going to start with and use as my base, because this particular challenge from Ina is all about fabric and fibers. It's called Fibers, and you have to use no paper, which already right there is a challenge for me. So this is going to be, I am going to make this cover for a journal. And I liked this piece of fabric that I had in my stash, and I think it looks very vintagey, and I'm gonna, of course, grunge it up because that's just me. But I'm going to make the cover. I am not going to make the insides of this journal, because you see it has a nice wide spine, and I'm not going to make the insides of it because for this challenge, because the inside will more than likely end up for me being paper, so that I can either do watercolor on it or sketches or something else. So this is going to, for Ina's challenge, it's just going to be me working on the cover. So I've torn it around the edges and kind of grunged it up, and I'm going to put a reinforcement here in the spine, I think, before I put my fabric down on the inside to cover the inside of the book. So what I will do is just go on from here and let you watch, and it's possible I will speed it up and do a voiceover. So here we go. Okay, here you see me. I'm getting ready to put a piece of cardboard down the spine here to reinforce my book a little bit. And I don't think that's cheating, because it is actually the structure of the book and not the cover that I'm doing, since it is actually paper. I'm using my high performance Scotch brand glue to adhere that to the inner structure of my book. And here I'm using just watered down school glue, Elmer's school glue, and a brush to apply it to put the purple fabric on the inside of my book. And just pushing it down very well all over, and now doing the other side. And it came out not wrinkled, but if it would have had some wrinkles, I wouldn't have minded just bending it on the folds to see if it's going to bend properly, and still gluing it or pushing it down in places. I was trying to decide here if I wanted to actually use the purple for the outside or use the blue for the outside. But in the end, I decided to use the blue. Cutting strips here, well, tearing them actually, of the purple fabric. I'm going to add those to the blue strips that I already have prepared, so that I can make a closure for the book. I thought about gluing them together right sides out to see if I would want to have one side purple and one side blue, and in the end I decided I wouldn't glue them together. I decided I'd just put them together a little bit at the very top and then go ahead and adhere them to my book. And they go completely under the front and completely under the back, so that it's a very secure closure. So just putting them together at the top with a little bit of my Fabri-Tac glue and eyeballing the middle. And then gluing all the way down the front to adhere the fabric ribbons. For my closure. And then just doing the other side the same way. So finishing up my ties, and it'll be one purple one and one blue one on the bottom and on the top. And now just trying out a piece of an old tablecloth here to see if I might want that on the front, and I think I like the way that looks, so I'm going to go ahead with that. It is tea stained or tea dyed, but it's not grungy enough or dark enough for me, so I go ahead and hit it with some vintage photo, and of course that is water soluble, so I squirt it with a little bit of water and then kind of mush it around in the puddle and set it aside to dry. And then I'm auditioning some lace up at the top here, and it also is tea stained, and then I tried this particular one, and I like that one a little bit better. Some of the lace, when you tea or coffee dye them, depending on the fabric that they're made out of, they don't hold or take the dye as well. Some of them do, some of them don't. So this one, the dye is took a little bit darker, which I like. So just putting that across the top. And going with the same kind on the bottom here, trying to work out which side is the right side up. Using my Fabri-Tac to adhere this down. Here I'm pulling on the threads a little bit on the edges of the piece of lace just to grunge it up a little bit, rough it up a little bit, make it a little bit more shabby. And that's where it is here at this point in time. So here I'm just auditioning some more the piece of old tablecloth and using some crocheted trim, auditioning a piece of really tattered lace here, and that ends up going on my spine. And I try a couple other things to see if I like it. Piece of black lace and a piece of there's another crocheted part of a crocheted doily, and I think I end up using that. And here I'm pulling the threads on the side of that tattered piece of lace so that it becomes even more tattered. Keep trying things out until I get them the way I like them, as we all do. Here I think I decide that I want them to be a little bit more deeper stained again, so I hit them both with the vintage photo, smoosh it around some. This time I think I decide to go ahead and dry it with my heat tool. It doesn't take just a few seconds to dry because it's such a thin lace. In the little bottle is Fabri-Tac that I have thinned down slightly with acetone nail polish remover. It is says on the bottle that you can do that, and it does work better coming out of my little tiny needle nose like that. And so then I'm gluing it down to the spine, and I'm leaving the raggedy edges on it and gluing down the little threads as well so they don't catch on things. But just trying to add to the overall look of the shabbiness here with the lace. Okay, here you see me using some crocheted lace trim, and I'm putting it on the edges of the book. It's just a narrow crocheted trim that I tea dyed or coffee dyed, one of the two. Excuse me. And just on the other edge as well. And I do put some down here along the bottom. And I do apologize because I'm almost out of shot there. You can barely see me doing that, but I do put it down across the bottom, just like I did on the sides. And I put that on top of the other coffee dyed lace that I already had laid down. And then I do the very same thing up here on the top. Just gives it another layer. Making sure it's all adhered down well. I used a Fabri-Tac to put it on with. This is a piece of crocheted doily, a cut piece of doily that I'm adhering here down the middle of the spine. And just making sure that it's stuck properly. And this is a little bow that I made out of some sari silk. And just checking out how it looks. I'm happy with it so far, and I tacked down the one tail of my ribbon to make it more secure. And then this is the piece of tablecloth that I'm putting here on the front. I try out some lace on the back there, but I wasn't happy with that. So I go ahead and just glue the piece of tablecloth down. This is a little embellishment that I had made. It has a bead in the center and some fibers and threads, and I added more purple fibers underneath to match my purple ribbons. And also there is some gauze, tea-dyed gauze underneath there as well. And I attached that to the front. Okay, just showing you what it's looking like now with my little beaded embellishment on there. And there's a little seed bead and sequin in the center of the bow. Excuse me. And now I'm just laying down some strips of lace. This is really old lace. I think it was on the edge of some sort of a scarf or something. Anyway, so I'm adhering that down in like strips. I'm just continuing on with my strips here using my Fabri-Tac. I'm not sure why this appealed to me more than just the one flat plain piece of lace, except I just thought that it gave it a little bit more interest on the back cover. And then just one more. And making sure it's adhered very well. Okay, well, this is the cover of my book. This is the front, of course, and I think I have all the components that were required with Ina's challenge, and this was very fun to do. This is the back, which I just layered some lace up along the back of it here. But I have lace, several different kinds of lace. Well, the fabric, of course, and then fabric, and then several different kinds of lace. I have the embroidered trim around here, and a little bit of embroidered trim here on the spine. And I have some gauze here underneath my little embellishment. Some gauze and some threads. There's a bead, and then back here there is a ribbon made out of sari silk ribbon. There's a sequin and a bead, a seed bead in there, which I'm really hoping you can see. I think you can. So I'm thinking that gives me 8 different items, 8 different components that was the requirement for this project, this challenge from Ina. And again, Ina, thank you for the fun challenge. I had a blast doing it, and this is my book, which I'm going to, at a later date, here's the fabric that I started off with on the inside. I'm going to, at a later date, of course, put a signatures in here of some kind, but they're probably going to be either watercolor paper or mixed media paper or something like that, so that I can work on them with my watercolors and things. So that's why I didn't finish out the entire journal in fabric, but I do love that it has a fabric covering. And those are my ties. So yeah, so that's it for my my challenge for this August Bits and Pieces challenge from Ina. And I hope that you all liked to watch me do this, and if you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you again, Ina, for a wonderful challenge. Please look for Ina's information on her channel and on this particular challenge that she put forth down in the description box below. And you do have until the end of August to email a picture to her. So yeah, so do that. And And thank you all so very much for watching. And until I visit with you next time, God bless you. Bye bye.